So as you guys complete your sales training, you guys are doing your outreach, you're getting more familiar with the industry, you're going to start to run into sales recruiters. Now, there are pros and cons to working with a sales recruiting agencies to help, that are ultimately going to help you find and land a quality sales role. So here's some pros. A, you shouldn't have to pay for recruiting services. If someone is asking you or trying to get money from you to, be placed on a sales opportunity, that should be a red flag. That should be very, suspect, right? Because recruiters are actually paid by the business owners to go out and find sales opportunities, or I'm sorry, to find sales talent for the business owners, right? So that's already a paid service that's done on behalf of the business owner. Therefore, you should never have to pay a sales recruiter a dime to be placed on a sales opportunity. Okay. And working with the sales recruiter, it is one pipeline, is one avenue of your network, right? And yeah, their job is to basically fulfill sales teams and looking for reps. And therefore, yes, when you do submit your application, you get in your, you submit your 90-second intro video, you are now in the sales recruiter's pipeline. So anytime, they have a business owner that is looking for talent, all they got to do is dig into their pipeline and basically find the sales talent that matches, the sales opportunity, right? And so sales recruiters, they're a great networking resource. Again, you should never have to pay for a sales recruiter's services. And some recruiting agencies, they'll actually provide sales training resources, right? The company that I worked with, they had ongoing, like Monday through Friday, sales training, objection handling, role plays, like they did it all. So once you're part of their system and their organization, they actually add a lot of value for ongoing support to help you improve your skill set. So, which is obviously another pro to working with the sales recruiter. And for the most part, like as long as you play ball, right, and you can close or set, you will be continued to be placed on sales opportunities, right? So as long as you're showing up, you're converting at a high level, you will never be out of work because you're establishing yourself as one of the players in the space that can actually convert consistently, and which is the goal, right? So if you can play ball, you can show up, and you can take care of business, you will never be out of work, especially once you get in touch with a sales recruiting agency. And once they place you, and it's like, okay, this guy can close, he can convert. And so every time, you end up back on the job hunt, they're going to go to work for you. Like you just put yourself on top of their list as, let's just call you an A player. So that's definitely another pro. And then the 30-day probationary period, like that can be a pro, although by the end of the 30-day probationary period, you can lose your job. But if you're confident and you're competent in your skill set, right, it gives you the opportunity, because now instead of just a sales recruiting agency placing one person on an opportunity, now they're placing, let's just say 3 to 5. That puts you in a position where you can now compete, right? So again, as long as you have that skill set, as long as you're confident and competent, you should be able to outwork these other guys, these other, candidates. So that can definitely be a pro. Now, cons to working with a sales recruiter, for the most part, it's not even for the most part. If you haven't generated $1 million in revenue, they're going to tell you that you've got to earn your stripes, which means you have to start out at the bottom in an appointment setting position. This is pretty much non-negotiable, right? Because ultimately, this is what they're pitching their clients. This is what they're pitching their business owners. They are going to go out and find them and match them with proven sales talent that have generated over $1 million in revenue. So that is typically not something that is negotiable. So if a sales recruiter ever comes to you and says, hey, I've got a closing role for you, I would highly question the sales opportunity that they are placing you on. From what I've seen in my experience as a sales recruiter, typically that's a crappy offer, not really designed to help get you or make you money. So basically it's a filler. So be cautious of that. You know, and then another con to working with the sales recruiter is they might guilt trip you into taking a sales role that is not necessarily in alignment with you and what you are looking for. Sales recruiters, their job is to fulfill. So if they've got 5 offers on the board and they need 25 different candidates, now it's more, they're more so focused on fulfillment. So although like you might be looking for a very specific role or within a very specific niche market, no, now they're going to basically say, hey, like, do you want this job or not? Because you know what, if I am, you know, providing you with leads to business opportunities or sales opportunities and you're not taking them, guess what? I'm not going to continue to look for you. So it's either you take this role or I'm not helping you out anymore. So that's definitely, it can be a con. So at the end of the day, they're really not looking out for, you know, your interest. Primarily it's a fulfillment game. So keep that in mind. Another con as far as working with the sales recruiter is that you can find yourself on a blackball list. It's not really something that's really spoken of or talked about, but it does exist. Like if you're that guy that is consistently quitting sales opportunities because, hey, you're not making money, or you're just kind of a pain in the ass, right? Whatever that looks like. But if you find yourself like off opportunities, quitting opportunities, not showing up, you're going to find yourself on a blackball list where you will never get placed again. I promise you that. So yes, sales recruiters can be an awesome network source and a resource to help you find sales opportunities. But at the same time, you've got to play ball with them. You've got to make sure that, you know, you tell them, you know, you try to, you know, build a relationship with them and kind of, you know, let them know exactly what it is that you're looking for as much as humanly possible. But for the most part, yeah, they're on the fulfillment side, guys. So if you're a pain in the ass, you will get blackballed. And that list does exist, I promise you. And then another con as far as working with sales recruiters, it can be a timely process. You know, so when you think about it, let's just say you get into their pipeline, it could be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months before you ever get placed. So that's a dangerous game to play as far as relying on a sales recruiter, because that's not something that you have control over. You are basically leaving it into their hands to find you a sales opportunity. And that's a dangerous game to play. So that is definitely a con, because you're not their priority. Like, let's just be real. They've got hundreds and thousands of other candidates within their pipeline, and you're not their priority. So if you think that, you know, based on, you know, your graduation and doing your outreach and thinking, hey, Thomas, I don't need your help because I'm working with the sales recruiter. If you're going to rely on that, you are never going to make it in this space, because you're literally putting all your eggs in one basket. You're relying on a sales recruiter. You're relying on their timeline to go to work for you, but you are not the only candidate within their pipeline. I promise you. So don't rely on a sales recruiter. Leverage them, yes, 100%. Don't rely on them. Now, as far as, you know, the 30-day probationary period, now that can be a con, because ultimately, if you don't make it past the 30-day probationary period, right, this can drag on for a while. So when you start looking at a timeline, let's just say, hey, you connected with me. I'm a sales recruiter. I placed you on let's just say I connected you with a business opportunity that, let's just say it took, you know, 2 weeks to a month to get you onboarded, right? For XYZ reasons, right? So for the interview process, the onboarding process, anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. Okay, by the time that is done, now you got to go through the 30-day probationary period. Now, at the end of that time frame, hey, did you make it or did you not? So if you were cut loose and they dropped you back into the sales pipeline because you were not, let's just say the A player, or the survival of the fittest, you weren't the last man standing. They didn't choose you to onboard on a full-time basis. So now, when you think about it, the math, you just spent 1 month getting onboarded. You just spent interview process, 2 weeks to a month getting going through the interview process. Then you just spent another 30 days going through the 30-day probationary period. Now that's a month and a half. Now we have to add in the time that it took for this sales recruiter to actually introduce you to this sales opportunity. So if it took them 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, now you add another month and a half, and on top of that, how long can you actually continue playing that game and relying on a sales recruiter, knowing that it literally just took you two weeks to a month to go through the interview process, then not making it past the 30-day probationary period, right? Now, after let's just say a month and a half, 45 days, it starts over because now you're back in the pipeline. Now, what if it took you another 1, 2, 3 months to get back onto a job based on, relying on the sales recruiter? So you landed 2 jobs over the course of, let's just say 4 to 5 months where essentially you potentially did not make any money. That's a very dangerous game to play. So again, that's why I say leverage sales recruiters, but do not rely on one sales recruiter and put all your eggs in that one basket, because the timeline, it's not going to play to your favor. I promise you.